Hello, hi, I am Piff. This is George, I've decided. He goes away now. Fuck George. Hi, I am the owner of AMU. It's an art, music, and writing community. All creative stuff, but primarily those three things. I got Jonah, or Plitzen Snow, or that other username that was like Xin something. I don't fucking know how to pronounce it. Where this is the first video of a few where we're going to be interviewing artists and learning about their journey and how they got here and what they do and why they do it. Full disclaimer, this is a redo of a previous interview because we did do the interview before, but we did it in Terraria. We did the audio all fucked up. I did the audio all fucked up. Actually, your microphone sounded great, and I actually had to go and ask Jonah what their microphone was because I was going to buy it because it was so good sounding. We found a good compromise, though. So we're going to redo it. We're going to do it in VR chat because I thought that'd be cool and more interesting. It's a very pretty world we have. And we have a crayons. We go, you know? So, can you introduce yourself?
My name is Jonah. I've been doing art for 3 years. I love food. I love food.
Yeah, they're eating a bag of chips. We actually decided we're going to do the intro while they're just munching on a bag of chips. I thought it'd be hilarious. Yeah. Well, what is the medium you usually do your art in?
I like to paint a lot. I actually hate doing digital art because it sucks to me. Like, I just cannot understand how anyone will just sit down and make the most beautiful masterpiece on digital art ever, and it's like effortless to them, and then they can't do traditional because to me it's like the other way around. Like, I have to be doing something on paper right in front of me, or I will explode. So yeah, I like to do oil paint, I like to do watercolor, and I like to use pens. Yeah.
Okay. Oil paint. What's the difference? What's like the fundamental like the challenges between oil paint and like watercolor? Like why would you do one versus the other?
Well, oil paint, a lot of people don't like it because I feel like it's kind of, well, it takes a lot longer to dry, whereas with watercolor, it takes a very, very, very short amount of time to dry. They all kind of, like, I feel like oil paint and watercolor do look a lot different. One thing I do really like about it is that you can, on a canvas, you can paint something with watercolor, and then you can go over it with oil paint. And because it's a water-based paint, it doesn't fuck it up. They are very different, like, in terms of how you paint with them, because, I mean, in some ways they're similar, but with oil paint, you're not really, I wouldn't say you're, like, painting it per se, but I'd say you're just kind of pushing the paint around until it makes something that looks nice. I mean, with both, though, you kind of have to mix in another substance to make it easier to use. Like with oil paint, you have to use linseed oil, and then with watercolor, you use water. So it is kind of similar in that sense. I like that. You can control the consistency of what you're using, and it also affects the dry time with both in the same way.
Do you have a particular paper preference? I know that might sound a little weird.
No, I probably would if I knew more about it or if I cared, but I really don't care. So I just like use whatever, and if the paper starts kind of like deteriorating,
like, yeah,
I use it anyway. I just keep painting it. I don't care.
Okay, it just adds to the piece, Lamau.
Literally, I don't care. Art is made to have mistakes, so.
That is true. That is very true. I mean, that's kind of one of the beauties of art is the fact that a human made it. Well, I guess what are some mistakes you've made along the way? What are some things that you realize were hindering you in some way, or what are some lessons you learned?
I've definitely been a little bit too hard on myself whenever I was drawing, because I'm a very big perfectionist. I literally need everything to be perfect all the time. And I definitely projected that onto my art, especially like it made me overwork myself too much because I have a lot of health problems that make it hard for me to do one thing all the time, like especially when I'm using my joints. Because my joints will just dislocate all the time. I have a tendency to just keep going because I want something to be perfect, even if I'm in pain or my body really does not want me to do what I was doing. So I definitely am like a workaholic, and that has honestly probably hindered me a lot more because obviously if your wrist is in pain, you're not going to be drawing as good as you would as if you were just a normal human being without your wrist coming out of its socket.
It also doesn't help that as you're drawing harder and harder, you're making your wrist worse and worse, which is therefore compounding the problem.
Yeah, and like even then, like when I oil paint, sometimes I'll do it for like a 12-hour period straight without even like getting up. That's really bad.
That does sound really bad. How do you do that?
I don't know, because I think my pain tolerance is just really high since I'm always in pain, and then I just kind of forget about it, and then I just ignore it. I don't even realize I'm in pain anymore.
Last time you mentioned that because your pain is always pretty much constant, your body is like tired all the time.
Mm-hmm. It's because it messes with my nervous system. Like, when you're constantly in pain, you know, that's putting stress on your brain. And, I mean, you have to process all of the pain that you're in. So your brain has to put in work to do that. So obviously, if you're in extreme pain all the time, you're going to be really tired. It's called chronic fatigue syndrome. And I actually had a really bad flare-up with that this week because my support pillow that I use for my hips when I'm sleeping, because if I don't have a support pillow, my hips will just, I'll wake up and they'll be dislocated. Both of them. And I can't move. And that did happen because my pillow, I had used it for so long that like all the stuffing in it, and I honestly, like, I was having trouble walking all day and I was just so exhausted. It was hard for me to even hold my head up. And after I got out of school, I had to take a nap in my car because I was so exhausted that I thought I was gonna fall asleep while I was driving. So
Probably a good call, yeah.
yeah, they also misdiagnosed me with a couple of things because of how exhausted I was. Like, they had me do a bunch of sleep studies, and they made me, like, they misdiagnosed me with sleep apnea, which does not make any sense because usually people with sleep apnea, they snore in their sleep, they wake up randomly, like, and they like gasp for air. And their reasoning for why they thought I had it was because they thought because I'm so underweight that my airway was super small, so whenever I would fall asleep, my airway would collapse. That was not the case. I don't really wake up that much. I don't snore. They also misdiagnosed me with narcolepsy, which my sister does have. It's called like excessive daytime sleepiness. So you'll be tired all the time, but it's more of like a hormonal imbalance than my body kind of just being like punched on the ground and kicked on the ground all the time. Like,
yeah. It's a little bit different.
yeah, like with narcolepsy, for example, if someone laughs a lot or like they get startled or scared, they'll just fall on the ground and fall asleep. I don't do that.
Okay.
I don't do that.
I'm sure it's really scary for the person, but I imagine from an outside perspective, it's a little comical. But
It is.
obviously,
I've seen it.
that's not. Yeah, I'm sure you have if you live with it. But
Yeah, it's called cataplexy, which another thing, if your body is really tired, you will get cataplexy, and I used to get that, so they thought that's what that was. And I also have diagnosed sleep paralysis, so that didn't help, because with cataplexy, you cannot control your body. So, if I was
so
really,
it's kind
really
of similar
exhausted,
symptoms.
yeah, if I was really exhausted, I would get that. And when I was getting diagnosed with narcolepsy, the criteria for it is that you have to fall asleep for like, I think 4 out of the 5 naps they make you take throughout the day. And I fell asleep for 4 out of the 5, and then they want you, like, if you start dreaming within the first 15 minutes of like, I think 3 of them, then you have narcolepsy, which I did do. But I mean, they tried to put me on medication and it didn't really do much for it. Like, one of the biggest medications that they use actually is Adderall.
Isn't that also an ADHD medication?
Yes, at that point I was already on Adderall. And so clearly there was
Oh.
not something was not lining up here.
Yeah, it's like, huh, you're already on the medication that treats this illness. Yeah, it can't be
Yeah.
this. Surely we'll just try another one. That'd be fine.
No, literally, they just like kind of kept the diagnosis, and then I ended up going to a chronic pain clinic because it was so bad that I could not function in my daily life. Like, I could not go to school, I could not really do much.
Which is another thing I want to mention, is that your school refuses to give you any sort of accommodation for that because you're a straight A student, right? Which I find
Mhm.
absurd because it doesn't
Yeah.
matter that you're still a straight A student. It'd be a lot easier for you if you could not yeah,
Yeah.
somebody can crawl to all their classes, but they should still have a wheelchair.
Mhm. Yeah, like, the main reason why I have straight A's is because I'm a perfectionist. I push myself even when I know I probably shouldn't be because I want
Yeah.
to be perfect. It makes me feel fulfilled. That's just how it is. It's just not right. But whenever I went to the chronic pain clinic, they were like, "That doesn't sound like narcolepsy. With your chronic pain, that sounds like chronic fatigue
You're
syndrome."
just in pain all the time. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, and they were like, "You just have such severe pain. It makes sense." And lo and behold, they put me on a pain medication.
And wow,
And
everything
guess
is
what?
great.
Yep, and I did not want to be on this pain medication for that long because it's called gabapentin. At the time, I
Mhm.
was like 15, and a 15-year-old being on gabapentin is kind of bad because it's really bad for your liver. Yeah, just a lot of medicine in general. Like, it's probably not good that I take ADHD meds as often as I do, but
Okay, so you did mention you oil paint for like 12 hours at a time. How the fuck do you remain focused on a task? Like, as someone with ADHD, I find that insane. I know you're medicated, so maybe part of it, but
hyper focus.
hyper focus.
Yeah, I just hyper focus on it because especially with oil paint, it's like the smell. I don't know, just the entire environment for me just makes it so easy because I love the smell. I mean, it is a little annoying because I always have to have my window open, and during the winter, I'm actually like in icy tundra,
Mm-hmm.
especially because where I live during the winter it gets like in the negative. But yeah, whenever I'm oil painting, like I have to have the window open, because the smell of oil paint, if you're just like in that for forever, you
Isn't
can
that
actually
just
get brain damage.
yeah? Because isn't that a lot of carbon dioxide or something like that?
Yeah, it's just not good. I don't know exactly what it is, but it's just really not good for you. But I love the smell. I wish I could inhale it all day. Um,
You probably get like a scent thing for it if you really wanted to.
this is true. I always like let them dry in my closet so my animals can't get to them. And my closet always smells like oil paint, and all my clothes always smell like oil paint. But
So it's just the environment that just makes it so you can
yeah,
remain focused on it for so long because you love
yeah,
it
and
so much, right?
I always have like a video playing in the background that does help me. I don't think I'd be able to do it without a video. Like I listen to book reviews. I love court videos, so I'll watch videos of people having their trials in court. That's good. I love it.
See, that's the thing, right? Because I write a lot. You love writing, you hate reading, right? That's what it was, or was it that way? No, you love reading, you hate writing.
Yeah, I love reading. I hate writing.
The thing with writing is I'm not sure if is the same for you with reading, but it's not something you can do while watching a video because then you're going to be listening to those words and you won't be able to read what you're writing, and then I'll end up
Mhm.
like writing what I'm hearing, which sucks because that's the way I enjoy most things that I don't typically enjoy. Is I just have a podcast on or something and it sounds great, but you can't do that with writing, and so it's more of a chore for me, which
Yeah.
is super frustrating. Which I guess the follow-up question is, how do you do things that you don't particularly enjoy? And disregarding the fact that sometimes there's like a presence, like somebody's like, hey, if you don't do this, you'll get punished, like, school. Like, if you don't do that, you'll lose you won't get your degree and whatnot. Like,
And without like the
outside of that,
videos,
what?
and without being able to watch videos or listen to music.
Yeah, just like, how do you force yourself
Um,
to focus on something that you really want done?
to be honest, I don't.
Yeah,
Like
that's so valid.
once I don't have those options anymore, it takes me like 5 hours to do one simple task. Like I just can't. It's so bad. Like one of my biggest things is folding my laundry because I can do things while I do that, but it just feels so mundane to me. There's not enough stimulation even if I'm listening to music or watching a video. So like I have to have someone in the room with me, and then I also have to be watching a video, or I'll have, this sounds like hell to a lot of people, but I'll have music playing, a video, and someone in the room while I'm also doing laundry.
How?
Because it just helps. I don't know.
Yeah, do you like hear all three at once? Like, do you,
Yes.
like, how? How do you process that? I could never. I can barely process the fucking. Oh my god, that sounds like a overstimulation fucking nightmare. How do you?
It's so
Jesus
good.
Christ!
Wait,
You're a monster.
it's also in school. Like I used to hate it when people would be talking a lot, but like one of my favorite things is in lab when I'm wiring things up, because I don't know, we'll always be playing music, and everyone in my lab is kind of friends, and I'll have friends. So there will be people talking to me, pestering me. Like for example, literally on Friday, my friend was unwiring my stuff just to fuck with me while I was troubleshooting.
Well, it helps if it's plugged in. No, you fucking unwired it, you little shit.
No, literally, I was troubleshooting it and it wasn't working, and he just started unwiring all my stuff. I was like, stop! And there's also music
Why?
playing. There's people talking in the background. I like thrive with that. I don't know what it is, but it's just in some environments I thrive, and then in others I hate it. Like whenever I'm in class trying to do something and there's just people talking, low key, I want to rip all their heads off because it pisses me off. I'm like, please just shut up. But like,
Does that translate to you reading?
yeah, if I'm reading and there's a bunch of people talking, I get really pissed off.
Yeah, so
Um,
like it's very limited specifically to like motor tasks, like things that you do with your hands or like do repeatedly. They don't
Yeah,
really need to think about the task itself, I guess.
yeah, I can listen to music while I read. I do that like all the time. Or even if I'm writing, I listen to music all the time. But
Interesting. Okay. So I do share that sentiment. It's like if I'm doing something, like if I'm washing dishes, I'd love to put in like a podcast or something and I can have a lot of stimuli at once. But if I'm like reading, then I can't do that because then I can't read.
this is true.
Well, I guess my next question is, do you have any advice for people, or following our journey, things that you wish you had known sooner, things you would have done better, like, just general advice?
I think a big thing, I don't think I talked about this in the last like recording we did. I think people neglect to study a lot of classical art whenever they're learning to do art because they think that it's not interesting, or like they just, because I know a lot of people don't like to like buy an anatomy book, study the anatomy book. That's not what I'm saying to do. I'm saying if you just learn about art history and you learn, they call them the old masters, but a lot of people make jokes about it because it sounds so dumb. But like if you learn about what they did, if you think about it, they did not have really any of the things that we have nowadays to teach them to do art, and look at how good those paintings that they did were. A lot of people wonder like, oh, how did they do that? And it's because they broke things down, and that's such a vague thing too. A lot of people will say that as well, and they'll be like, break things down into shapes, and that's like so vague and it doesn't even work half the time. But like just on your own, not even thinking about breaking things down into shapes, I think it's really important if you just study those paintings that they did and how they broke things down into very simple, not shapes, but like concepts. Yeah, that's a huge thing. Like studying the old masters, that really helped me improve fast, I feel like. And I mean, one of the biggest people that I have seen as like an art YouTuber that like does that really well. He does oil paintings a lot, but he explains stuff, and he also has a server where you can get feedback from him. I'm pretty sure his handle is Jake Don't Draw, but he does like really good explanations, and that did really help me improve. So
That's super interesting, actually. I also think there's probably proportionally a lot less oil painters than there are digital artists nowadays. So it's probably good to have a very specific resource for that, because I feel like that's a little less common now.
Yeah, and he even kind of does it with digital art like stuff, because he will do a lot of his demonstrations digitally.
Oh, interesting. What program does he use? Do you know?
I have no idea. He probably just uses some basic thing, because he's always like, you don't even need to use anything good, and then he literally draws with his mouse, I think, low-key.
I think you mentioned this in the last one, but there's a big art project you're working on, right? With your painting your dog.
Yes, I'm painting my dog that I've had since I was in 3rd grade, and I'm a junior in high school now, so 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th. 9 years. She's 9 years old.
This many years.
She's 9, and she is my absolute like best baby ever. She is like the best dog ever. And she's getting kind of old for a Boston Terrier, so I really just want to draw her, so I have, or not even draw, just paint her. I'm probably gonna paint her a lot more even after I'm done with this one, but I want to paint her so I have something that's just like related to her.
Yeah. I mean, pictures only go so far. I mean, if you paint them, it feels more like you're, putting your blood, sweat, and tears into making sure they are here, I guess.
Yeah. She's actually on my floor right now, and she's chewing a bone, so if you hear her smashing it against the floor, because for some reason, as soon as we started talking about this, she was like, yeah. But yeah, she's just like the best dog ever. I love her so much. And I'm very sad that she's getting old, because like you can see her start to gray, and I feel like that's one of the most like painful things about having a pet, which I am gonna put her gray hair in the picture too. I don't care. Like, I'm not gonna paint her as a puppy. I'm probably gonna paint her how she is now, and I'll paint her. Even though it probably would be kind of painful, I'm probably gonna paint her and how she looks even as she keeps getting older.
That's fair. I mean,
yeah, I'm not gonna make her look younger.
No, I mean, because I was also kind of like, that infers that you liked them better when they were younger, which isn't necessarily true. So
I love her no matter.
Exactly. So I think that's a good way to put it. Well, as this is about wrapping it up, is there anything else you would like to add before we vanish off this plane of existence?
Nope.
Great, awesome. Let's go explode. Oh my God, Emperor! I'm so good at this. I need to redo all this. Grab it, burn it, explode it. That's why I need scripts when I do videos because I never write them because it's too much work. Whatever. Ooh, that looks shiny. Oh, why are you gigantic now?
I had to gain
Oh
some
god!
height.
Oh god! Oh god!